1. I work at a medium-sized hotel, around 88 rooms. This story is from the middle of busy season. It is and always will be busy in the summer because I live and work in a tourist town. Anyways, on to the story. It was a nice Wednesday night, around 9 p.m. I mostly work 3 to 11 shifts. I had checked in a guest who was from a place that I've always wanted to visit, but have never had the money to. I tell him that I've always wanted to go, and he just laughs and says that it's a pretty cool place and to visit whenever I get the chance. Easy check-in, the perfect guest. Around 9:30, I get a call from one of the rooms saying there is stains on their sheets and that they needed new sheets. No problem at all. Tell them that I needed to grab some from our basement and to give me about 10 to 15 minutes. Then they call back. She will be an annoying lady from here on out. Hey, so actually, can you just come up here and check the room? The manager said he would come up and check the room a while ago and hasn't come up here yet. Me knowing my manager, he would never even say that he would be up there to check it out. And if he did, then I would be going with him for security reasons. Sorry about that, ma'am, but I might be able to come up and check it out in just a few minutes. That was very dumb of me to say. I knew I was supposed to have someone with me, but I just wanted them to leave me alone. I got off in an hour, so what the heck. I go up and check out the room, and sure enough, there is a stain on the sheets. There's a light bulb that wasn't working in the doorway, and she said she didn't feel comfortable in that room. I'm sorry, ma'am, I can't move your room because we are completely sold out tonight, but I can get you new sheets and a light bulb. I told her that she can give me a few minutes and I'd have them at the desk for her. She agrees with that, says it's fine, and I'm off to grab them. A few minutes pass and they're down at the desk. Hey there, I have your sheets and everything in the back for you. No, I don't want the fucking sheets anymore. Whoa, what happened while I was grabbing the sheets? I want to speak with your manager. Manager is not on property at this moment, but will be here tomorrow morning if you want to speak to him. No, I want to speak to him now. What's his phone number? I'm not allowed to give out his personal number, ma'am. Like I said, if you want to speak to him, you will just have to wait until the morning when he is here. Whatever, fuck you, and this fucking hotel. Now, this is where my unicorn comes in. This beautiful, majestic creature just walks up behind her, and is looking like he wants to yell at them as well. Instead, he waits calmly, as a unicorn would. After the guests who were berating me over and over and throwing insults every which way left, he came up to the desk, holding something in his hand. Hey there. So I'm not too sure about what happened, and I realize that I shouldn't say anything, but I couldn't help it. You and the rest of the staff are the most kind people I've ever met. And those people shouldn't be here. I love this man right now. I want to cry. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. You're gonna make me cry, man. Hey, man, no reason to cry. Anyways, me and my family have been traveling for the past few weeks, and I just wanted to bring you these to try and hopefully make your day a little better. Bring some of my home state to you, since you haven't been able to go. This man handed me so much candy and cookies and food from where he was from, I could barely carry it all. He left a very nice review afterwards with my name in it. Good lord, people like that make the whole job worth it, I swear. 2. So I worked night audit for the motel with the high electric bills due to not turning the light off. We are a corporate property and, as such, have to run the audit at 4 a.m. Our system is a bit slow, so I start the process at 3:50 a.m. so I can hit that audit button at 4. I had a guy come in at 3:59 wanting to check in. I explained that I can't check anybody in until about 5 a.m. due to the audit. Cue yelling of "This is racist BS." Cue yelling of "This is racist BS." The other guy, also an African-American gentleman, checks me in at 4 a.m. all the fucking time. Now, just to explain why I got so heated about this, my daughter is half Hispanic. My 17-year-old son just got out of the hospital because he was jumped for being half black and raised by his 2 dads in the deep south. I have 5 nieces and nephews, and none of them are white. To say I was angry is a serious understatement. I proceeded to try to explain to this man that 1. I have to hit the audit button at 4 a.m. 2. He probably checked in with my coworker Jay at 10 to 15 after 3, and even if I could check him in right then, because I hadn't run the audit yet, he would still have to check out at 11 a.m. He continued to yell and cuss at both me and the security guard for almost 5 minutes before calling the police because I was discriminating against him because he's black. Now, this motel allows early check-in from the time the audit is done and doesn't charge a fee for it. I say after 5 a.m. because even though the audit usually takes 10 to 15 minutes to run, I've had it take almost 2 hours. Don't want to tell someone to come back in 10 minutes and have to tell them it isn't done yet. Also, I have to print up the audit pack, and that can take half an hour or more, depending on how slow my system is being that day. Well, the cop shows up. Now we're half an hour away from Seattle. And after some stuff that happened with the protests, a lot of officers, especially the younger ones, are worried about being accused of racism. This young officer talks to the guy and comes to get my story. I explain what happened, even showing the officer the audio recording I made in my phone when he started yelling. This officer seriously asked if the audit was done yet, and if I could just go ahead and check the guy in. I explained to him that yes, the audit is done, but after the way the guy was acting, I was no longer comfortable allowing him to stay with us. My GM is amazing. If someone acts like this guy does, yelling and cussing at us workers and saying they will force me to check him in at 4, he actually wants us to tell them they are welcome to seek their accommodations elsewhere. The officer is actually arguing with me. It looks more suspicious if I don't check the guy in. As Officer Dummy is trying to get me to rent to this guy, his supervisor pulls up. As soon as I see who gets out of the SUV, I grin. This is the sergeant who likes to come to the lobby after his shift from time to time to get some free coffee and chat. After listening to my story and the audio recording, he agrees I am well within my rights to refuse, and tells his officer to tell the guy that I am refusing service and that he needs to leave. The guy gets into his vehicle and peels out of my parking lot. The story doesn't end here, though. You see, this idiot showed up and raised all this fuss while still wearing his work uniform for an auto parts store. The same auto parts store I just the day before put in an order for $300 worth of parts for my car. As soon as they opened this morning, I proceeded to go to cancel my order, and you better believe I told them exactly why I was canceling it, and going to their competitor and paying a bit more for my parts. I also explained to them what my plans were for my vehicle, which is going to end up costing me somewhere around $2,500. And letting them know that the store with the catchy jingle was going to be getting all of it. 3. Hello, front desk friends. So I work at a standard 99-room hotel that's right on the beach. So we're extremely busy during the summertime, and we usually get a lot of people with money. Or at least people who appear to have money. Most of the time, we have the standard annoying guests throughout the day, but this one guy really pissed me off this day. For this story, we'll refer to him as Mr. LV. Mr. LV checks in the late afternoon, where we usually have our check-in rush. Around this time, the lot in front of the hotel starts to get pretty packed, so we try to get guests checked in and parked in the garage as soon as possible to avoid a huge traffic jam along the road and in front of the building. Well, as Mr. LV parks his car directly in front of the front door and walks in, I immediately notice him trying to flaunt and show off his Louis Vuitton bag, hence his nickname for this post. He's talking to someone on the phone as he walks in, and the way he's talking just reeks of arrogance.
Yeah, sure, you guys swing though. Come see your boy. Oh, what? Nah, I'm just checking in at the hotel. Y'all gotta see me out here at the beach flossing with my Louis Vuitton.
Mind you, he stood there talking on the phone for at least 5 more minutes before he finally decided to hang up so we could check him in. So all is going well, and I'm checking him in until we have another guest come up to the front desk saying that they can't move their car because another car is blocking them in. Well, that other car just happened to belong to Mr. LV here. He snaps and turns to the other guest, clearly pissed off.
I mean, you don't have to come and complain to the front desk, I'm right here. I know you saw me park there, how about you come speak to me like an adult?
As you can tell, this guy has a huge sense of self-importance. Instead of just saying, "Hold on really quick, I'll move my car," he decides to create a huge scene in the lobby and start an argument with another guest because he's under the assumption that they were looking at him the whole time and know exactly who owns the car out front. Ridiculous. So a few hours later into the night, around 10 p.m., Mr. LV comes to the front desk asking me for a recommendation on where to take his son to eat. It's pretty late, so most places are closed. But I knew of a nearby restaurant and another hotel that was open until midnight. Definitely within walking distance. I tell him about it, and he and his son leave. About 15 minutes later, he comes back, furious. Apparently that restaurant closed early at 10 due to a staffing issue, or at least that's what they told him. He starts bitching to me, saying that I should have known, and that it looks bad on me and the hotel for me to recommend him somewhere that wasn't open. By this point, I'm very annoyed. There's no way for me to know about staffing issues at another restaurant, especially when I know that place has been open late since I've been working at this hotel. Furthermore, it's almost 11 p.m., and you haven't fed your son who's no older than 10, but you've been going around flaunting your ugly designer bag all day. Mr. LV then asks if there's any pizza places still open that deliver to the hotel. I tell him that the closest one is Domino's and that they deliver to the hotel all the time. I thought that would be the end of it, but Mr. LV had to make an ass of himself one more time before bed. He asks me,
"Well, what's their number?"
"I'm not sure, but I'll look it up for you. Give me one moment."
"Why, so you don't know it? Oh, this is ridiculous. My son has to eat. As a hotel, you're supposed to know these things for the guest. That's part of customer service."
Okay, now I'm pissed. The only thing I can't stand more than entitled people are entitled people who act the way they do and then have the nerve to talk to me about customer service. Besides, I had to look up the number to Domino's on Google. What was stopping him from doing the same on his phone? Nothing, that's what. This grown-ass man is asking me where to feed his son. I guess he expected me to have the number memorized, just like he expected me to know about the staffing issue at the other restaurant. And just like he expected the other guest to know it was his car parked out front. Anyways, I give him the number and he went up to his room. I left shortly after, so I don't know if he ever got his pizza, but if he did, I hope they dropped it. Moral of the story is, don't be a self-centered prick, and feed your children. 4. In celebration of the fact that I'm about to become a property owner myself in a few weeks, here's a story from a place I worked almost 20 years ago. I was a young reservations manager at a large branded property near a big interstate exit on the mid-Atlantic coast. It was a quiet afternoon. I was just joking around with my elderly PBX, RIP Flo, in the back and received a direct call that was confusing to me at first. The guy at the other end was the manager of something, obviously a little bit flustered, and needed like 11 executive-level rooms for tonight. But I needed to get them all checked in, make the keys, and meet them by a back door. I don't remember exactly what I expected, but the guy gave me a credit card and we got everything set up just fine. This was certainly a special guest, but it was nothing that crazy. It seemed there had just been some change in travel plans and they needed a place for the night, maybe more. I make all the keys and make my way back to the property. To a door I told him I'd meet them at. To my surprise, a huge tan and black tour bus pulls up and stops. The door on the far side opens up and out comes the manager guy I've been talking to. I give him the keys, tell him how to get to the rooms, and he goes back to the bus to get his crew. I stand there holding the door open while the crowd starts to file in front of me. I'm nodding and smiling politely to people as they come in, only to notice that the third person is none other than Whitney Houston. Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown were traveling from their studio in Atlanta to their home in New Jersey, and Bobby suddenly needed medical help for heat stroke he was suffering. I remember the manager was giving me a tip and telling me not to talk to the media if they called, and that was it for them that evening. It was also near the end of my shift. By the time I came back into work the next day, word had gotten out, and tabloids from across the country were calling the hotel asking about what happened. Creepers were calling in asking to buy Whitney's used bed sheets. It was a circus. But they liked me, and I was the only one allowed to go to the rooms. I remember going to Whitney's room with something, her little dog barking at me, and seeing her in the bedroom of the suite. They stayed for a few days while Bobby was receiving medical treatment, and then they went on home. 5. I was standing at the hotel desk talking to the shuttle driver during the last few minutes of his shift. Both of us were wearing masks. A man not wearing a mask who looked remarkably similar to Grandpa Munster smacked a box of crackers on my countertop and began walking towards the exit. "What's that for?" I asked. The man said something in a muffled tone as he left. I looked at the driver. I think he's Grandpa Munster's clone. The shuttle driver went to see if the old man was all right. I heard the man scream at the driver for a moment. The old man returned to my desk. He shouted like a man who came to realize something horrible happened. "I don't know what I did. I don't know what happened." He buried his face into his arms that were resting on my counter. "I just don't know what happened." He looked a bit devastated. "Well, from what I just saw through the window, you just went bonkers on my shuttle driver after smashing that box of crackers on my counter. Now you are freaking out. Do I need to check the parking lot for a body? Also, will you either put a mask on or take about 10 steps back?" "I lost my car keys. I think I locked them in my trunk," he said. "Well, that sucks. Are you sure you locked them in your trunk? Maybe you left them in your room. Also, I notice you are still hovering close to me with no mask on. Please put a mask on." "No, I was just in my trunk getting my crackers. My mask is in my room." "Maybe you dropped them on the ground. You should go check. That way you're actively looking for your keys while also respecting social distancing guidelines." "How the hell am I supposed to check? It's after midnight." "Well, most phones have a handy flashlight. Also, I happen to have a flashlight handy. Would you like to borrow it? I have a box of masks in my car and I'm happy to give you one." "I'll just use my phone." He left to search the parking lot, and the shuttle driver returned from outside. "That guy's a real nutjob," said the driver. I began whistling the theme music to the Munsters. The old man returned moments later. I kept whistling. "Why does that sound familiar?" he asked. "Does it remind you of home?" I asked. "I didn't find my keys on the ground." "Do you have AAA?" asked the driver. He shook his head angrily. Then he had a sudden realization. "Yes! I can call AAA!" He walked back to his room. "What the hell just happened?" asked the driver. "Grandpa Munster has bats in his belfry," I said. "I'm not surprised. Have you seen any of his crazy inventions?" The driver said goodbye. Grandpa Munster returned to the lobby a short time later with his mask. He still looked frustrated. "I can't find my AAA card." "You look like someone who knows how to do certain things." "I know things. I've done things. I've even seen some things. Overall, I enjoy doing stuff." "Can you help me break into my car?" "You think I look like I know how to break into cars?" Well, you happen to be correct. I can help you break into your car. Let me find a hammer and I will get that driver's side window out of your way. Then you can use the trunk latch to get your keys." I started walking towards the back office. "No, I meant with one of those things you jimmy the lock with." "You mean a jimmy?" I smiled. He couldn't see my smile because of the mask I was wearing, but I was smiling. "Yeah." "Nope, I can use a hammer." "It's a rental." "Do you actually have AAA but not the card, or do you just not have AAA?" I asked. "The card is missing." "Did you check your wallet?" "Did I check my wallet? Of course I checked my wallet." He pulled his wallet out of his pocket. When he opened it, the first card he pulled out was a AAA gold card. "Oh shit! There it is!" I returned to whistling the theme music to the Munsters while he stepped over to the other side of the lobby to make his call. I watched his expression. He was still frustrated. "They're making me listen to a damn recording about COVID-19 and safety. Can't they get on with this?" "Does the word pandemic mean anything to you?" I asked while pointing at the mask on my face. He rolled his eyes. Clearly, he wasn't trying to worry about a deadly pandemic. "I need something to help me with my heartburn. Wait a second." Suddenly, someone was on the line. "Hello?" "No, I wasn't asking you for help with my heartburn. I have heartburn, and I need my crackers from the car, and I locked them in the car." "No, not the crackers, the keys." "No, I'm not yelling at you." He was yelling at the person, and it definitely sounded like he wanted them to rescue his crackers from his car. Eventually, he told the person what the actual issue was, and we waited together for the truck to arrive. I had no choice about waiting with him. He refused to leave the lobby. I had to listen to him complain about his liberties being violated while the television in the lobby was showing the news with the total number of people dead so far in New York. Then there was an image of a man wearing a t-shirt with a Confederate flag on the front. The text on the screen said he was a protester. The old man turned to me.
You see that guy? I respect him because he's standing up for what he believes in. And that's what America's all about,
he said. I see a guy wearing a Confederate flag on his shirt, which to me not only represents hatred, but is also the flag of the people who literally wanted to separate America and start their own country. We fought a war over it. The only thing that would make him more laughable would be if he was wearing a MAGA hat. The old man squinted his eyes at me.
I don't like Trump, he yelled.
I didn't accuse you of liking him.
This is stupid.
What's stupid?
The governor should let people leave their homes.
I'm a person. I am not a home. I would also like to note that as far as I can tell, you are only a person. Do you live in New York State?
Yes.
And here you are, not in your house, angrily waiting for a person from AAA to arrive, so he can unlock your car, so you can get your keys, so you can go back to bed and eat your crackers. I bet you just walked into a grocery store and bought those crackers because you felt like it. Coahw is such an asshole for forcing you to eat delicious crackers from a grocery store that you had to go buy yourself. The old man saw the AAA truck coming down the driveway. He immediately went to greet the driver. I watched the AAA driver help the old man rather quickly. When he returned to the lobby, he was very critical of AAA.
They were so insistent that I understand their COVID-19 policy. And that guy wasn't even wearing a mask.
I saw him through the window. He was wearing a mask, I said. The old man scowled at me and walked back to his room. At 4:35 a.m., a girl whose family made a last-minute reservation just a few hours earlier approached me and requested to shuttle to the airport to get them there by 4:45 a.m. I felt terrible about the inconvenience, but the shuttle driver wasn't available.
But you guys have an airport shuttle, said the girl.
Yes, I said. But because of the pandemic, we have limited availability and we request that people make travel arrangements ahead of time. Otherwise, we can't guarantee the shuttle will be available.
Can you make it at 5 a.m.? She asked.
I called a sister property and asked them for a favor. The desk associate I spoke to agreed to offer her shuttle once her driver returned from a run. Then, a moment later, the girl tried rushing things.
Can you call them and have them pick us up now?
I'm sorry, but the driver is already in the middle of a shuttle run. I can't get him here any faster, but I will call over to the other property and ask if they can ask him to come over quickly if he returns early.
But we need to get there by 4:45.
I completely understand. You feel stressed. I wish I could make the shuttle more available. Unfortunately, during these tough times, we all have to deal with inconveniences. I'm sorry if you're going to be late. Suddenly, the old man came walking back into the lobby wearing just a stained white t-shirt and his not-so-white briefs.
I was trying to go to the bathroom and I accidentally walked into the hallway and my key is in my room.
You have a testicle hanging out, just saying, I said, and the girl looking for a shuttle swiftly disappeared. I made a new key for the old man and decided it was a fine moment to get some fresh air. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Coahw, episode 69. And thank you very much to everyone who allowed me to use their stories in this video. If you enjoyed the video, then please do boop the like button, leave a comment, and if you haven't done so, please do subscribe. Because that's awesome and groovy and all the cool people are doing it. You want people to think you're cool, don't you? Or, if you want to. One of those two. Okay, where are we? This is Monday. Monday the 9th. I believe I have a shouty out to do today. Right, now, they did say how old they were, so I think I'm allowed to say it. So Dragonstar Fox will be 60 years old today, here on August the 9th. I hope you have a very lovely and pleasant day filled with all the wonderful and lovely things that you most definitely deserve. Alrighty. And, as is traditional, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Dragonstar Fox. Happy birthday to you. Alrighty, and I think we'll wrap things up there. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.